In a triumphant turn of events, the now Ming Dynasty has overthrown the Mongol Yuan Dynasty in China. Having rose through the ranks of a rebel army, Zhu Yuanzhang is determined to liberate all of China from Mongol rule to establish an absolute monarchy.
I know what you're all wondering. How did this Zhu Wanzang guy ever overthrow the might of the fearsome Mongol armies? Well, it's true that the Mongols were masters of battle tactics, but the rebel army Zhu led was the first to harness gunpowder as a weapon. Using early firearms, he and his rebels reclaimed much of China, conquering the current capital, Daidu, in 1368.
The Ming Dynasty was led by the emperor and the central bureaucracy. A group of people called censors had direct access to advise the emperor, and censors-in-chief led bureaucratic organizations called the Six Ministries. These ministries were the Ministry of Revenue, the Ministry of Personnel, the Ministry of Rights, the Ministry of War, the Ministry of Justice, and the Ministry of Works.
The social structures of the Ming Dynasty were influenced by Confucian ideas. There were four main social sectors: Shi, Nong, Gong, Shang, Shi being the highest and Shang being the lowest. At the time, the Ming Dynasty had the largest economy in the world. They started off using paper currency but had to switch back to their silver because of rapid inflation. During this time, there were policies that had benefited agriculture, and the country saw an increase in commercial farming.
Through the adversity of maintaining his empire, what was it that kept the many emperors to continue expanding? Well, starting with our first great leader, Zhu Yuanzhang, he intended to liberate the entirety of China from the former Mongol rule. As various emperors emerged, common motivations shared among our great leaders were to maintain practical control of the empire, to restore China's international power and prestige, and to extend their control beyond the territorial borders. The strength of the Ming Dynasty was quickly met with resistance, beginning with incessant clashes from the overthrown Mongols for the first decades, and then problems arose in the 15th century from Japanese raiders that united with Chinese pirates to carry out coastal raids in Chinese waters. In the 16th century, the Zhugens successfully forced the Ming army to retreat southward, and a brief occupation of Vietnam was met with guerrilla resistance.
Due to tax increase, government disconnection, and natural disasters, thousands of people lost their lives. As a result of this, peasants revolted. Li Zizhong and Zhang Xianshang rose to the occasion as leaders of the revolt, successfully declaring two dynasties. Only 2 years later, the last Ming emperor, Chongqing, killed himself, leaving semi-nomadic Manchu people ruling and creating the Qing dynasty. During the Ming rule, the Great Wall of China was built. However, it was the most brutal dynasty of China's history.
In another drastic turn of events, the now Qing dynasty has taken control of the Ming dynasty. After the capital of Beijing had been captured by Li Zisheng, desperate Ming dynasty officials called on the Manchu Azingoro clan of northeast China to come to their aid. Taking advantage of this opportunity, the Manchus seized the capital and established the Qing dynasty.
In order to take over the empire, these Manchus, people from northern China, had to cross the Great Wall and take over the Ming capital, Beijing. Unsurprisingly, the Qing dynasty adopted most of the same government system that the Ming dynasty previously had.
The social structures of the Qing dynasty were very strict. Higher-ranking citizens abused their power and took it on the lower class. There were four types: the emperor and his advisors, general, nobles and workers, artisans and peasants, and finally slaves and servitudes. The emperor and his advisors were the highest, while the slaves and servitors were the lowest. Under the emperor King Long, China became the most populated empire in the world. However, he closed off the country to the Western civilization, which initially allowed the population to increase. But this drastic increase made the country struggle to feed its inhabitants.
Within our empire, the expanse of territory previously conquered by the Ming dynasty left emperors with the motivation to conquer the rest of the empire to establish a system of government. The first rivalry of the Manchus came in 1637, when former Ming adherents started a major rebellion that had been stimulated by the Manchus' attempt to subdue the authority of these generals. Starting in the 18th century, the British were attempting to counterbalance their unfavorable Chinese trade with the traffic of Indian opium. In June of 1840, 16 British warships arrived in China to press their demands. beginning the First Opium War. In 1842, the Treaty of Nanking ended the First Opium War, but initiated the Second Opium War when the treaty failed to satisfy the British goals of improved trade and diplomatic relations.
After the reforms that worsened living conditions for the peasants, Sun Yat-sen formed the Society Sun. In 1911, followers of the Sun Yat-sen started an uprising in central China, resulting in the collapse of the dynasty. The Qing dynasty reached its empire's greatest population of 400 million.
The Qing dynasty has come to an end. Our empire has been succeeded by the Republic of China and concluded absolute monarchies in China.